Hey, today I want to show you how you can make this Zillow dashboard in Power BI. So let's go through some of the features of the dashboard and then get started in creating it. So as you can see on the right here, we have these cards representing the different homes for rent or for sale. And if the user clicks on one, it will filter down the map for that. The user can then click on this and then go to view details, and that will take them to more specific information about the house that is for sale or for rent. It'll give them a walk score, bike score, restaurant score, and a price versus the median, as well as the bedrooms, bathrooms, acres, price, address, price change over time, and then where it's located. And by the way, this will be fake data. I was not able to scrape through all of the Zillow data for that. But that is the gist of the dashboard. Let's get started in building this thing out. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go to Zillow.com and then open up the console with Control-Shift-I, or you could also just right click and then you'd go to Inspect, then go to the Network tab. Make sure to go to the Network tab. Now in the search bar, I'm going to type in Texas, but type in wherever you want your data to come from. And we'll get a bunch of network requests here. Most of this, I believe it's just tracking you, but there is some important info here, and we can search for it by just searching for async, and that will give us the async create search page state. And if you're watching this in the future, I don't know if this is gonna still be the same, so there will be a link in the description for a GitHub repo with this data in it. So if this doesn't exist in the future, just use that instead. But we have this async create search page state. So let's click on this, and we can see that this is a put request to Zillow servers. And what this does, it gives us all of this data for the home prices, the images on the right, and all we have to do is go to the response here, and we just need to copy this. Where this data lives is in this cat1 object, in the search results, and then in the map results. We've done this for the for sale, so I'm going to copy this by first turning it into raw. I'll click into this, press Control A, Control C, and then I'm going to open up VS Code. Alright, now I'm going to create a new file called Zillow.json, and then I'll just paste in that copied code and say format document. Now this is all of the JSON code that we're really interested in, and that this lives within an array. Now all this other stuff we don't care about, so what I'm going to do is I am going to delete the rest of it and just keep the important stuff. And just so we're clear, the important stuff lives within this map results array. So you can just do this and then delete everything around it. And then we can also get rid of these braces, whatever you call those, just so that we have the array in the end. And now I'm going to format the document again. And this is all of the data that we just saw on the screen. So I'm going to do this another time, but it's going to be for rent data. So this is for sale data. So all I need to do is just say for rent and say apply. And then we get this async create search page, and same thing. So let's just look at the data here, and we go to the map results again, and it's all there. And we can see the marketing status is for rent. So it's the right data. Now we just need to copy it again, and we'll go and paste it in our JSON file. I'm going to do it beneath the array, and we'll say format document, and we'll do the same process that we just did before. So let's go up. So it's in the list results here. No, it's in the map results. So the map results is all that we care about. So let's get rid of the rest. Even the key here called map results. Delete that, then close this up, and we'll get rid of the rest here. All right, now what we need to do is we just need to copy all of this down to the end. And we want to make sure we don't include this brace at the end. So we'll just cut this, delete that. And then at the top here, we can just paste that in. And make sure to add a comma here so that it is a valid array. And we'll just save that and format it. This is all the data that I'm going to use for this project. Go ahead and do this however many times you want. But now we need to open up a new instance of Power BI. And for this project, make sure that you have at least the November 2023 edition of Power BI installed. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to create the cards that we saw on the right-hand side, which look like this. So here we can say get data and then point it to our JSON file. So first it's going to be of the JSON type. And this resides in some document wherever you put it. Okay, so now for good measures, I'm just going to make sure that all of these in the ZP ID column are unique. So I right click and just say remove duplicates, and that will do that for me. And now I just want to close this out. All right, let's go and look at the data and see what fields are going to be useful. So price will be useful, the status text, and perhaps the price label will also be useful. The address is going to be useful. In here, there is image source. This will be the images that we want to show. This will also be useful. And the beds and baths area, the latitude and longitude. And there's some other fields in here, but those are pretty much the main ones. So let's go and get started in building this thing out. And let's just search up for the image source real quick and make sure that we say we categorize that as an image or an image URL. So that's what we just did here. Let's download the Zillow image for the top left corner, and we can also just go into our web browser and type in Zillow logo. And we'll get this Zillow Media Room link. Download this logo. Let's go back to Power BI and import this image, and then we'll put it right here in the top left. So how you do that, you just go to Insert, Image, Dashboard, and Image. And I'm going to resize this. So I'm going to hold Shift while I resize it so that it keeps that same sizing or the same width and height, that ratio. And that looks good enough to me. So let's add in the map and then also the buttons. So let's go to the map visual, or actually, before we do that, let's change the theme. So go to View, and it should be this one called Accessible Title. So choose that, and now let's add in the map. We'll choose the map visual, and we'll put it underneath the Zillow logo, and we'll make it take up about 2/3 of the screen. And then we need to search for address. Luckily for us, it's the top one, and put that on as the location. This is our data, and let's get rid of this title. Just turn it off. And for the latitude and longitude, we have those fields as well. So the latitude we'll put as the latitude and longitude as the longitude. And for the bubble size, we can put in the number of beds or the number of baths, or you could also put in the price, but I'm just going to choose the beds. I feel like that's a better indicator for how big the house would be. And for the legend, we want to show which ones are for rent and which ones are for sale. So let's go back into our data and look for those fields. And here we have this marketing status simplified, but this contains different categories within those for sale and for rent. So I think what we want to use is the status type, because this one will show just for sale and for rent, but we actually would prefer not to have it all uppercase, and we would prefer no underscores. So let's go into Power Query and change this so that the format is more appealing. So just go into Edit Query. We'll say choose column, go to column. Status text is what or status type. No, status text, I believe is what it was called. Okay, no, it was status type, but it was right next to it. We'd like to say replace values, and then we'll say underscore with blank. We've got to add a space in there, so I just double click there, add a space. Now we need to right click, go to transform, lowercase, then we'll say capitalize each word. And this looks a lot better, so we will just close this out. Okay, now for the legend, let's type in status type, and I'm going to change the colors so that the for rent will be, it'll stay blue, but the for sale, that'll be red. So let's go type in color, and for sale needs to be red. Okay, that's good enough for me, and I'm gonna hide the legend. So let's type in legend and turn this off. Okay, now let's get started in building out the cards over here on the right. So what we're gonna use for that is this new slicer. What we want for the field is going to be the price. So let's choose price label. Now we need to change the columns so that it's only displaying 2. And let's get rid of the title. Then for formatting blank, let's just type in blank, and it'll say show blank as, and we'll say $NA. Now we'd like to add the image in, so let's type in image, and we get this option. So we'll say add data, and this is where we want to use that image source field that we categorized earlier. Now let's format the text underneath the button, and to do that we need to go to this callout values section. I'm going to choose the Go UI bold for the font, and I'm going to make this size 14. We can now create a field for the subtitle underneath it, or I believe that is called the callout label here. So yeah, we'll like to turn this on and then add data for the callout label. So for the field, which it'll be a combination of different fields. So if we go back and look at the example, we'll need to create a field here. So I'm just going to copy this over, and I'll explain the DAX whenever I'm copying it over, or whenever we add it to this particular table. So I'm going to call this property details, and what we need to do is we need to get the number of beds, baths, and the size for each particular property being shown. And then we also need to get the SG apartment. If these values are blank, we'll display NA next to what they are. Otherwise, we'll display the count. And then finally, we will just append all these together, and at the end, we'll have the SG apt field. And now what we need to do is we'll just say add data, and we'll say property details, and that will be added in like that. Let's go into the cards and make their borders rounded. And to do that, go into shape and say rounded rectangle, then make this 4. And I think that looks a lot better. Now, if you remember on the last one, we did not have a tooltip here. Well, we did not have this particular tooltip. We had a card for the tooltip. So let's go and create that. To do that, create a new page, and we'll name this card tooltip. And then we need to format this as a tooltip. So Under canvas settings, we'll say tooltip, and then let's resize this. All right, now we'll have an image up top, followed by the price label, and then the property details. I'm going to speed up through this section of the video. Okay, so we just created the card tooltip, so I'm going to hide this, and now we need to click on the map visual, type in tooltip. For this, we'll say report page and point it to the card tooltip. Now whenever we hover over a property, we'll see its associated picture and the price along with the property details. And I'm going to adjust that a little bit so that the price is lower along with the property details, and that the image is takes up more of the screen or the tooltip. Now we need to group these visuals together, and then we'll add in the slicers up top. So to group them, just select them both and then hit Control G. And one thing I didn't even notice is that this has the border on it. So let's get rid of the border here. Turn this off. And that looks a lot better. And one thing that you could do is you could go into the data and filter out any where the image source is blank, and you wouldn't have these blanks. But we're not going to do that. We'll just add in these slicers now. And this is pretty straightforward as well, so I'll probably just do one and then speed up through the video for the rest of them. So let's start off with price, and let's type in price, and we're going to want to use the value where it's summation, because these are text fields and we don't want those. So here we'll just need to change the title so that it reads price. We'll see if we can do anything with the padding. And let's add a border underneath the price. I believe that's the slicer header border. We want one on the bottom, and that looks good to me. So I'm going to do the same thing with, well, actually, let's format this as a currency first. So I'm going to say English US. One other thing, let's add a border to the slicer itself. So type in border, and not the slicer header border, but the effects. Under this, we want to choose the light gray option, and we'll give it rounded corners of 4. Now I'm going to speed up through the rest of this. Do the same on your end, and I'm just going to do it for beds, baths, status, and then one other field. I forgot what it was, but just follow along. Just going to move these all over just a smidge, and then I am going to format them so that they're equally spaced between. So let's go to format here, align, and distribute horizontally. Now we just need to add in a button which will clear all of these slicers whenever they're applied. And then also we want a drill through button here, which will take the user to a more specific detailed page. So let's add in the clear slicers button because that one's the easiest. And what we need to do is insert a blank button. And we'll place that over here in the bottom right. And what I had was like a refresh logo, something like that, similar to it. So what we need to go do is download a image from the internet. Where I'm going to go is svgrepo.com to get that. And let's just type in refresh for the logo type and see what we get. This one, or actually, yeah, let's go with this one. I like this one. Now what we need to do is edit the vector so that the color is a light blue color. That is going to be the hex code of 1F8 4FF. And now let's export this. All right, with it downloaded, let's go back to Power BI and use that for the image for this button. So go to Style, and there should be an icon here. We don't want it to be blank. So choose Custom and then Browse. That should be in your Downloads folder, so just choose that. And now let's just format this a bit. And normal, say fit or fill. Now just format it, and then for the action, we want to turn this on and then say clear all slicers. Turn off the text, and there we go. Now the only other thing we'll have to do is change this so that the border is not so ugly. So make it 1 pixel, change it to light gray, and then let's see if we can change the roundedness of the corners. So we'll make this 4. And that looks a lot better. Let's change what comes up. So the tooltip, I believe they refer to, yeah. We'll change this to just say clear all filters. And that should work because we don't actually have any filters on the page and we don't intend to put any. That one is good. Let's see, the other one was a drill through page or a drill through button, which would take the users to more detail. So let's create that page and we'll just call this details. And we're going to hide this as well. And what we want to add on to this is the address. I think that should work. So in this keep all filters, or sorry, in this add drill through fields here, put the address there. And get rid of this back button. And what we're going to do is add in our own back button. So again, we'll choose a blank option. And then right here, we'll say, we'll just format this, change the action so that it is back and it's automatically there. Okay, and then for the text here, we'll say go back. And let's change the border color so that it is blue color, that 1F8 4FF color. So type in border, and it's just this top one. We'll make it 1 pixel, then we'll say rounded corners, make this 4. And then on hover, we could make this a darker gray. So that's under style. And then it should be for fill. And then say on hover, we want the fill to be a gray. And then let's add in a tooltip. which says back to map. Now go back to page 1, and let's add in a new blank button, and we'll place it right next to the refresh or clear slicers button. And then for the style, change this to default. For the text, we'll say view details. And let's change the border so that it is light gray and it's not so wide. And then we'll change the border, the roundedness of the corners to 4. For the tooltip, we first need to turn on the action, but then for the tooltip, we'll say that view property details. And then on hover, we can also make it a darker gray, a lighter gray. So, that's going to be in the style option. We'll say on hover, and then under fill, we'll just say that the background should be a lighter gray. Yeah, view property details. And now for the action, we want to say drill through to details. Okay, so now whenever a user selects something like this, they should be able to be taken to this page, and then here the address is filtered for what we just clicked on. So now we just need to build out this page. And we want to build something like this. So the walk score, bike score, and restaurant score were made up. So let's go and create those measures. And I'm just going to copy them over. And they're all the same, as they're just a random number multiplied by 100 and then formatted to say it's a random number out of 100. So let's add in a new measure. Now let's add in the image to the top left here. So choose the new card. And what we want to use is image source. So I've already typed it in, but we've got to add that to our data. And let's go to the callout and turn this off. Oh my gosh. Turn off the label. Okay, I guess my computer's got some sort of lag going on, but let's turn off the border and turn off the label again. Okay, now we just need to go to image, and we'll say, turn this on, say image URL, choose a function option, just click OK because it's already selected. Now let's format this so that it is fairly nice. Okay, that's good enough, I'd say. And what I did in the prior report was I added a shadow to everything. So I'm going to type in shadow here, and let's turn this on. And what I did is I just made it a lighter gray and put it on center. And I think that looks pretty good. It isn't too in your face, so that's why I like the lighter gray instead of the dark black. And yeah, I'm just going to add that to every visual that I put on the screen. So next, we want to use the map underneath. So let's add that in. And we'll do the same thing that we did in the prior one. Insert a new shape, and we want it to be a rectangle. And let's change the color here so that it is that Zillow blue color. Okay, and the border is going to be Zillow blue as well. And here we want to add in the shadow, so that's for effects. And we'll just do the same thing that we did previously. Now I'm going to format this and then put a new card on top of it. So let's choose the new card option. And we're going to use status text here. Now I just need to add in the beds, baths, price, and size. So let's do that. I'm just going to use the regular card for this. Say beds. What we're doing here is we're getting the area field and the lot area unit. If the area unit is not blank, then we want to check if it's acres and then append acres if it is that. Otherwise, we'll just append square feet. And if it's blank, we'll just say NA. And now we can add in the walk score, the bike score, and the restaurant score. So let's go back to SVG repo and let's type in the icons for this. So we'll do walk first. And there is one caveat to this, and that's that we need to download these as PNGs. So let's go into edit vector and we'll type in that. I believe it was 1F8, 4FF. And then we need to say export as a PNG. Alright, so with that done, let's add in the walk score now. So what we're going to do for this is add in a new card, and then we're going to have to format it all the same again. So let's just add in the walk score now. And these are taking up more than half the screen, so I think that we could do a bit of resizing because we're going to have the price here. So I think that that should take up about half the screen. And what we're also missing is the address. So we've got to add that in too. And I'm just going to use a regular card for that one. So we'll just copy this, paste it underneath. Okay, now we need to add in the median price versus the price being shown here. So again, I've added this as a measure in the previous one. So So I'm just going to copy that over. All right, so we're getting the status text, and then we're just calculating the median home price, where the status text is equal to the current status text for the current property. And we're doing that for the whole table. So that's all that the median price is doing. So we'll add that in, and then we'll put that in a chart versus the current price. And for that visual, we're going to use the clustered bar chart. And finally, we should add in the price over time. So this was just fake data that I had made up. So I'll just show you how I did it. So let's go to Table Tools and create a new table. And it will just be a date table or a table of dates. And it'll take the current day and the current day 10 years ago, and then create a bunch of dates in between that period. Now I'm going to add in a measure for the fake price during this time period, and all I'm going to do is get the current price and the current selected year within the chart, and then get the current date of today. Then I'm going to calculate this change percentage and multiply the current price by it to get the new price. But if the current year is equal to the current year of today, then we'll just display the current price. So nothing too fancy, but this will just give us some data to show. And with that done, we just need to add in a chart here. I believe we used an area chart on the last one, so that's what I'm going to use here. Alright, so let's test this out. I'm just going to speed up through this part of the video, but you can do this on your end, and let's just go through what we built. Alright guys, that is going to be it for this one. I thank you very much for watching, and if you have any comments, leave them down below. If you have any suggestions, leave them down below as well. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.